Hello there, Stampers. It's Jackie Ballheis from Klomp & Stampers. Today, I want to show you how you can make a quick and easy Christmas card that is going to wow your family and friends. And it's a very easy one to make lots of, because I think Christmas cards, quite often we want to make a whole bunch of them. Well, this is the perfect card design and perfect stamp set to mass produce and real easily make a bunch of them. And we're also going to learn how to use the Stamparus. So even if you're not looking for an idea for a Christmas card, you gotta watch my tips for the Stamparus. There's so many uses for it. It's kind of known as a stamp positioner, we'll call it. And I really like to use it, one, when mass producing, but two, whenever I'm stamping a very bold image. Sometimes it's tough to get that crisp, dark, good, bold image. So the Stamparus is our solution for that. Now, we're about ready to dive into this card. But before I do, I just want to remind you that for every video I do, I have a corresponding blog post. Now, that blog post is going to show you pictures of the projects I'm going to share with you today, as well as all the cutting dimensions and the supply list. So if you would like to make the card that I'm sharing with you today, use the link down in the video description to go to that blog post, and you'll find all the details there. That way you don't have to try to write everything down. And a lot of times I forget the measurements when I'm doing the video anyway. So I try to make it easy for you. Just go over to that blog post, link in the video description. And then if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. I'm here to help you with all your stamping needs. And if you'd like to order today's products or anything else from Stampin' Up!, I truly appreciate you selecting me to be your demonstrator. Any questions at all or help with anything, make sure to reach out to me, send me an email, contact me through my website. I'm here to help you. Well, are you ready to learn how to use the Stamparus and how to make a quick and easy Christmas card? Let's flip the camera down and get to work. So here's the stamp set that I'm using today. It's called Piece to You. And like I said, these are really bold stamps. And sometimes it's a little tricky to get an image to look as good as it looks right here. So that's what I'm going to share with you today, how to use the Stamparus, especially with those bold stamps. And then I'll show you what I did to make a Christmas card out of it. I'm sorry if you get a little bit of a glare. I tried to adjust the lights the best I can, but I know this plastic picks up some glare. So let's grab the stamp we're going to use. Let's use this one. Now, on my Stamparus, I'm going to just call this scrap. It doesn't look like a scrap. It's a half a sheet. But I'm going to stamp on this and then cut it out. With the Stamparus, you can hold your sheet in place with the magnets, but you also, I do anyway, like to keep it nice and tight up in the corner. That helps me when I'm doing this repetitive stamping to make sure nothing slips around. Now, speaking of these magnets, it comes with 2 of them. And they're super strong. So you need to always keep them far apart from each other. If they get too close, they like smash together and they could pinch your fingers or they could even break. So we're going to just be careful. My paper's down there nice and solid now. Now, before we start stamping it, a couple of tips that I also want to share is this is the basic white cardstock from Stampin' Up! The type of cardstock you use, especially with bold stamps, makes a huge difference. You need something that's really nice and smooth and will take that ink nice and smoothly. So if you're having a tough time with some of these images, it could be your cardstock. Now, this is clean. You got to make sure it's clean before you do what I'm going to do. But I want to kind of maximize my paper the best I can. I guess it doesn't really matter which way I go. So I'm going to set it on there, and then I'm going to close up my Stamparus to pick it up. Because now I know it's placed over here, and I have plenty of room to stamp that image. So today we're using Starry Sky. I thought it was kind of appropriate for the stamp set. Plus it's a gorgeous, kind of non-traditional color for Christmas cards. And little tip here, I like to place just an ink pad, any old color, underneath this plastic plate to ink it. That way it's not on that angle, so it makes it a little bit easier. And then we're going to take our ink pad upside down and ink this up. Okay, so we got it inked up. Easy peasy so far, right? And then we're going to go ahead and close our Stamparus and give it some nice pressure. Now, when we pick this up, you're going to see a couple of things. One, it doesn't look like I gave it good pressure there. So we can come back, give it a little bit more pressure. That's looking pretty darn good. But if you look really close, you'll still see it's not as solid as an image as I have here. So what I'm going to do is ink it again. Now this is why I use the Stampartus when it comes to these bold images, because I can stamp this over and over and over as many times as I need to get it super dark and inky. That looks pretty darn good, except right over here, and you know what, I might even have enough ink. Let's try that. There's still a couple spots that I see are not, 100% dark and solid like I like with this kind of a stamp. So let's even go a third time. Now, you'll see, hopefully the third time's the charm, but we can come back with a fourth if we need to. Right there, looks like we need a little more pressure. Kind of struggling on that part. There we go. I think we look pretty good there. Now, this Starry Sky ink looks really dark here, but when it dries, and I'll show you a finished card, you'll see how it lightens and how beautiful it truly is. But so that's, why I like the Stampartus on these stamps. Now, let's show you what I do with this next. We're going to go ahead, set this aside. Oh, I mentioned multiples. I should do that quick here. What you could do now at this point, we could flip this over. We could do another one on there and, keep it placed on there and stamp as many as you want. Because for the cards that I designed today, and I have 4 different ones to show you, I like to cut it out with a die after I've stamped it. So we're going to actually just flip over to some completed ones here. Can you see the color difference? How much that kind of brightened when it dried? So what I did is I took a square. This is from the Stylish Shapes dies. These are one of my favorites. You guys, if you follow me, you see me use these a lot. And what I did is I placed this on here and I kind of played around with it. So I wanted a little bit of white so it looks like snow. And then I wanted to make sure I, didn't have any white around these edges. Just because the stamp is that big, I don't have to use it all. So I kind of went about right there and I cut it out. And then I cut out of white one size bigger. And I just used dimensionals to put those together to really make it pop. Along with Silent Night, Holy Night, which again is a greeting from in here. I layered this on to some Starry Sky cardstock that I had embossed with the music embossing folder. So super simple to do. And then on the inside, just layered a piece of white with another greeting from that stamp set. So you can see how I used that stamp there. Now I have another one, and just kind of for comparison and show you some different ways to do this. This time I used white for my card base, and I cut our image out with a stitched rectangle die, my other favorites. And I stuck it way up there so I got lots of white down on the bottom to be able to stamp my greeting. And then I didn't even layer that part. I put it right on the card, but you can see the white is actually a layered piece with that music. So this one, we've got the music actually on the card. You can see it on the inside. This, it's a layer, so it kind of looks a little bit more finished on the inside if you like that smoother look. But there is that one. Then I went ahead and I wanted to make a couple cards with this image. So the first one, we got kind of more show and tell here today, but I hope you learned some tips with the Stampartus. Here you can see I cut it out with the rectangle and again embossed that Starry Sky cardstock and put a piece of white on the inside. And then for this version, I did it just like this one. Okay, we have a white layer on there, but then I used my paper trimmer after I stamped it, because you can see the shape of it right here, and I just trimmed all the way along the edge to get it the shape of the stamp, and then that same greeting, and there you go. So today was all about 2 things. One, showing you how you can make some gorgeous, quick and easy Christmas cards, but 2, all about how to use the Stampartus, especially when you're stamping bold images. Anytime I have a bold stamp, I don't even try with a block. I go right to my Stampartus. If you haven't tried that with your bold stamps, do it, and I think you're going to really like the results. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I hope you learned a tip or 2 today, and if you'd like all the details on this card, make sure to check out the link down in the video description to go over to the blog post. If you have any questions, reach out. I am here to help you. So we'll stamp again real soon. Have a stamp happy day.